The creative process is always a journey. In my creative process, there is a moment in which I really sit down and think how I am going to execute the project. All my designs are handmade. From the conceptualization of the design to the final piece, all the process is handmade. So I always start with bringing all the ideas together, searching for sources of inspiration. In sign painting, it's really important to select right the letters that you're going to use for your sign, because every letter style has kind of a personality and they transmit something that it comes from the time when they were created, or with the flow you design them. They also help in the transmission of the message of your words or of your quote, for instance, or your sentence, right? So once I have all this together, it is time for me to bring the idea into paper. So I start doing a couple of sketches using my pencil. I usually create about 2 or 3 sketches per project. And then I develop one of those ones, I develop it further. This stage is still on paper. And this is once the design is done and once I have full clarity of color palettes, effects I'm going to give, shadows, blending, if I'm going to add gold, if I'm going to use mother of pearl, anything, right? So once I have all this information and all this is clear in my head, I sit down and I organize the steps one by one, because this is really, really important. If you do the sign in the right order, the things are going to look really good. But there is nothing worse than go ahead, move forward because you are really eager to start, and then realizing that, oh damn, I should have done this first than what I just did. So this stage is also really important for me, and it's something that sometimes I have avoided, and I just say, oh yeah, I know how to do it, but, or that I used to do at the beginning, but with time I learned it's a very worth of time spent in advance because it's saving me a lot of headache. Once the design is done, I pass it to my iPad in order to digitalize the design, right? And this is in order to throw the design through my SummaCut. This is a plotter and I use it for pouncing. So once I have all the design with the pounce, and I transfer the design into the surface, and it's the time to do the magic with sign painting and the brush, right? This is by far my favorite part. Is the part where kind of I embrace all the project with my own body, because there is a lot of movement with my brush. The brush gives a lot of gestures to the design. There are things that sometimes you cannot put on the paper, or even if you're designing with your iPad, even less, but you already know what your brush can do. So that's the moment of allowing the brush to give it more personality to the project. If this is a commercial project, so for a client, for me it's really important the communication here. So I always show all the process to the client. I always keep the client informed. I always ask for opinion, for feedback. And once the design is approved and like we have green light to move forward, even then I keep the communication. I keep sending pictures, videos of the process, showing how things are going, and always is really nice to see their reactions and to listen to their feedback. Another important aspect in the sign painting creative process is timing. Sign painting is an art that is handmade, so time is a really important factor. So when I am doing any creative project, I always need to have plenty of time to allow the project to evolve properly. So you need to have time to develop the idea, to develop the sketch, to create, to gather all the materials, and then to start. But once you start, it's really important for me to respect the drying times of the paint and the products I'm using, because there is nothing worse than when products start reacting. And when this happens, there is nothing what to do. You have to start again. So in order to avoid that, which can be crazy, you don't want that. Um, I make sure that I have plenty of time to execute the project from the beginning till the end. And it's really important to take into consideration the weather, the humidity, all these things affect my work. So once the idea is clear, it's really important that the execution runs as smoothly as possible. And that's really important for me as well. Because at the end of the day, all these steps and caring about respecting all these times are going to reflect in the result of the project, of the art piece. So when I respect all this, I can guarantee that the products are not going to react, that the piece is going to stay in the perfect condition as I want.